What is going on, guys? It is USA Breaking News YouTube channel here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including details on Drew McIntyre's new WWE deal. Bad news for AEW. Gunther reveals he didn't want to work on the main roster. AR wrestler was hit by a bus. WWE are fully aware of the complaints about the Rebel and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Let's see the intro and get straight into our first story now. First Street looks at details on Drew McIntyre's new WWE deal. Drew McIntyre recently signed a new deal with the WWE, but just how long should fans expect to see McIntyre in WWE? While the Wrestling Observer Radio Will Alvarez revealed that McIntyre signed a 3-year deal, Melt remarked on why a 3-year deal rather than a 5-year deal was a smart move by McIntyre. That's why I viewed 3 years as very smart on his part, because I mean, the thing is, if there are two companies around in 3 years, which more likely than not there will be, you can go in there, and I don't know the number. McIntyre will be taking time off though, as he's dealing with an elbow ailment. PW Insider reported that Drew McIntyre will not be back on TV immediately as he's still recovering from his badly hyperextended elbow. He received a lot of respect from the WWE for working through the issue over the course of the last week's UK tour. This isn't the first time Drew has toughed it out through nagging injuries or illnesses such as the flu. Next up, bad news for AEW as Oz ratings W limited the US market. Well, not according to recent report concerning an international service that has aired AW content. The first report concerns bad news for AEW and fans who had previously watched it on the streaming service The Zone. According to Inside the Ropes, in early 2023, All Elite Wrestling partnered with DAZN to broadcast weekly TV and 4 pay-per-views from the promotion across 42 markets in Europe and Asia. However, fans were curious why DAZN stopped airing AEW content. Reporter Steve MHUS tweeted, "Scoop: DAZN and AW had a 3-year deal, with DAZN having the right to drop them after the first year. DAZN exercised the option that ended the deal on New Year's Eve. The reason DAZN dropped AW was because, except for Allen, the pay-per-view numbers were below expectations and not enough people were watching except for select episodes in the first month of Collision, where AW was available internationally, so DAZN ended the deal early." MHEN, who previously worked as DA's social media department, later commented on the situation. "Want to make perfectly clear, it wasn't AW's fault the deal wasn't renewed. I ran the wrestling social side for DAZN. AW bent over backwards when I asked for interviews and liners from talent to promote their major TV shows and pay-per-views. DAZN never gave wrestling even 5% of the budget given to boxing and MMA, which to me was a shame, as wrestling had a real shot at their own, but besides me and the news team, it never got the opportunity it deserved, and they weren't the only international streaming service that dropped AEW content." Wrestling Observer Figure 49 reports less than a year after signing a multi-year streaming deal with Televisa Univision, AW is no longer available on the company's ViX platform, the second such international broadcast deal that has quietly gone away. Now, this isn't good news, and it'll be interesting to see if one or both streaming services pick up a different wrestling company. AW's ratings have been hit and miss for some time, but the 24th of April ratings for Dynamite were particularly low, with Inside the Ropes breaking things down as follows. The ratings were the lowest since 2021 and saw viewership in the 18 to 49 demo falling to 0.23 rating, which is an 11.5% drop from last week. This was the lowest rating in this category since June 24, 2020. They noted the show aired against NBA playoffs, and there were other reasons for why the ratings plummeted. There may be reasons besides a product for the rating suffering, but how do Warner Brothers Discovery executives feel about this? While PW Inside Res, reporting a source in WBD, claims the cable network is really happy with the ratings. While this claim may be ludicrous, as one has to analyze Dynamite's place in the ratings on cable TV, especially for its 18 to 49 demo. If Dynamite comes in at the top 3 or even 5, WBD may be happy. While the overall viewership has declined, the show rating in the top 5 cable ratings regularly may be enough to satisfy them, and equally important, its advertisers. Nevertheless, AW needs to work on a strategy to grow its decreasing audience and find out why its core fans are tuning out. What do you think AW can do to boost its ratings? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, major injury updates on 2 top AEW stars. Now, there are 2 injury updates concerning AW stars MJF and Powerhouse Hobbs, and the news isn't good, but as we'll see, it will create some possibilities for AW to elevate other talent. The first story concerns MJF. The former AW World Heavyweight Champion has been off TV since he dropped the World title to Samoa Joe at Wells End. According to several reports, MJF was dealing with various injuries for some time, but he wanted to drop the title in the ring rather than vacate it. While the Soul to the Earth dropped the title, he disappeared from AW, leading to questions how he was when he would return. MJF has remained quiet about things, and up until recently so had AW president Tony Khan. Now Jason Solomon is reporting so bit of news hearing through the grapevine that it'll be a while yet before we see MJF back in the ring. PT was not a success and he had to go under the knife. Not sure of any timetable, but that's obviously a blow to AEW. His presence has been missed, and keep in mind the story has not been confirmed, but given Meef's strict adherence to kayfabe and his fondness for keeping fans in the dark, there's no telling what's going on. The lack of information led to frenzy fan speculation that MJF had signed with the WWE and was going to debut at WrestleMania 40, but the second injury concerns powerhouse Hobbs. The Don Callis family resident strongman was reportedly injured during his bout against Jon Moxley on the 24th of April. Dynamite Bryan Alvarez and Fightful Select each reported on the injury, and while details are unknown, it's currently believed that Hobbs isn't expected back anytime soon. Oz's injury situation is even worse due to the number of top stars sidelined by various injuries and ailments. Kenny Omega's in-ring return remains uncertain, and Adam Cole is still recovering from his ankle injury, and now former TBS champion Julia Hart is said to be sidelined with a shoulder injury. The only upside to this rash of injuries is that Oz now has a chance to elevate other talent in top spots. Oz certainly isn't lacking for talent, and it could enjoy a resurgence by focusing on fresh faces and seeing our fans react positively to underutilized talent getting pushes. We send our well wishes to everyone dealing with injuries, and we'll continue following these stories. Next up, Gunther reveals he didn't want to work on the main roster. Current RO superstar Gunther dropped a bombshell during a recent appearance on the Gorilla Position podcast, revealing he didn't want to work on the main roster after his successful runs in NXT UK. During the interview, the ring general was asked if he thought he'd have as much success working under Vince McMahon. "I don't know, but it was one of the reasons why. For a long time I didn't want to go to the USA. Product before Triple H was not what I enjoyed. I didn't want to be part of that. I am who I am. That's what I can do best. A big part of that is I need to have my time in the ring and have that time to put on matches I can put on." As Fightful noted, NXT UK was booked by Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Gunther explained why it would have been different under the old regime, that chance would not be there under the old regime with Triple H. "He always saw that in me and he always had that vision for me. I got lucky that a lot of things in my career took place at the right time. It was a little bit of a leap of faith when I first made the move over. Everything worked out in the end." You may recall rumors when Gunther jumped to the main roster that Vince McMahon wasn't impressed with the big man. Thankfully, Vince's retirement gave Triple H the book and he pushed Gunther to the moon, leading to a spectacular reign as Intercontinental Champion for the leader of Imperium. Next up, Darby Allin hit by a bus. Now it seems that former TNT and our World Tag Team Champion Darby Allin was recently hit by a bus. He was originally scheduled to climb Mount Everest this year but had to back out, breaking his foot. Darby recently informed his fans via Instagram that awkward moment when you're crossing the street in New York with a broken foot and get hit by a bus. While getting hit by a bus is never a pleasant situation, it appears that Darby emerged relatively unscathed. We send our best to Darby for a speedy recovery. And finally, WWE is fully aware of the complaints about Death Rebel music, and last but not least, we reported on fans' disappointment and some might say disgust with Death Rebel's work creating theme songs for the WWE's various superstars. However, does the WWE know just how upset fans are? Shish of Fightful reports they are very aware of them. The WWE has made some great improvements in different elements of its production, but the music remains a sore spot. Do you think they'll resolve this big problem?